Good morning, everybody. How are you? Look at that gorgeous shot this morning. I say that as like a bird is just flying through. We are really close already to the static fire this morning for SpaceX's Starship serial number 4 prototype. We're getting really close. I barely caught it. Not gonna lie, I was sleeping and it was fantastic. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, they're this far along this morning already. So, hi, good morning, everybody. How are you guys? I had to get some coffee. You know, you got to get your coffee ready. Everyone, say a huge thank you to Spadre Isle at Spadre Isle, Rachel and Jean. It was their anniversary last night. I think it was their 22nd anniversary. And they were out shooting this stuff for us yesterday. And here they are already today again, this morning, bright and early, getting us this absolutely stunning shot. So Rachel and Jean, thank you guys. You guys are so awesome. This is such a beautiful shot. And we are already seeing that bigger side vent coming. So we're probably within 5 or 10 minutes already of static fire. So this might be the shortest Starship stream ever this morning, which is hilarious. This is great. So yeah, how are you guys? Thank you guys for tuning in. What a gorgeous morning. Man, if there's one thing South Texas has, it's beautiful mornings. I don't know. If there's one thing it's got beautiful mornings. That is stunning. I think we're really close. So a friendly reminder of what this is. The giant cylinder you're seeing to the left is the Starship prototype, serial number 4. It is, I also better get this ready for Big Flare because it is coming up very soon, actually. We're probably within just a few minutes of Big Flare, so I'm going to get it ready to say Big Flare so I don't miss that because that takes me like 10 clicks to make it happen. Okay, so the big giant cylinder, Starship serial number 4, SpaceX's most advanced prototype for their upcoming Starship program. It's about 9 meters wide, which is about 30 feet wide, about 30-ish meters tall, so around 100 feet tall. And this thing is just massive. Like when you see shots of cars driving in front of it, you realize just how big this thing is. And this is only a small sliver of the upper stage. So it's going to get a lot bigger. This thing is absolutely massive. So there's still going to be the payload bay on top of this, the nose cone, eventually. And then there's also going to be the super heavy booster below it, which is going to be another like 70 meters tall. So it almost about 2/3 of the vehicle will be below this in the future. But this one for now only has a single Raptor engine, which full flow stage combustion cycle Raptor engine, the good stuff. It is the most advanced, most complicated type of rocket engine. Oh, we are seeing Big Flare already? Oh my word. All right. I think that's Big Flare. Is that Big Flare or is that just normal flare? So right above me, you see a little flame. And we can kind of judge where they're at in fueling based on that flame. So that flame is actually just a little flare for the little. It's okay. So there's all these methane tanks around, and when methane expands and it goes from gas, from a liquid into a gas, they let it bleed off into this vent line. That vent line is actually really far away from everything, or at least about 100 meters or so away from everything. And then they have a little just torch on it that just lets it burn off the excess methane. So we do see that just kind of constantly burning. That will change in the future. Apparently they're going to be changing it to a compressor. So they will have just a motor running that just keeps the liquid methane liquid instead of letting it burn off. That does require power in order to do that, obviously. But they have a huge solar farm, actually. So they will be running this, running the methane liquidization off of solar pretty much. But so the vehicle has just a single Raptor engine right now. It's a little bit offset, and once they do this, we're getting really, really close to seeing them do a 150 meter hop, kind of like Starhopper. But this vehicle's a lot more advanced than Starhopper. This is a lot closer to actual. This one will only do about 150 meter hop, but the structure, the construction, and things like that is a lot closer to the actual vehicles that they will be making. And don't forget, they're just cranking these out. They're just doing one milestone after another milestone, then another milestone, then another milestone. So once they do this, then they can do this. Once they do that, then they can do that. So for now, they're just trying to make sure that, all of their avionics work and the structure is okay. This, the rings and the welds and everything can hold up. This is a stainless steel rocket. It's something that a full stainless steel rocket hasn't really been done in quite a while, to my knowledge. But it has been done for like the SM-65A, the original Atlas rocket was stainless steel, but it was so thin it had to be pressurized to maintain its shape, period. Even before it was fueled, it just had to have enough pressure just to hold its own structure, and that was considered a balloon structure. The Centaur upper stage of the Atlas rocket today is still that same way. It still has to be pressurized. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that we're going back to stainless steel, but it has some really nice properties when you consider in reuse. So for reuse, it's really nice for reentry because it has a much, much higher melting point. So you don't need to use nearly as much stainless steel. So you don't need to use nearly as much heat shield. So if this were, carbon fiber, basically it works out that the heat shield would be so much thicker and heavier, it'd be as heavy as stainless steel in the first place, or even heavier potentially, to keep the body and the fuselage safe. But the cool thing is this doesn't even need any heat shielding at all on the leeward side. So the windward side, when it's belly flopping, will be heat shielded, but the back side of it will not need anything because it is it's so ready to go. It has such a high melting point. So pretty cool, honestly, that they're going kind of old school on us. So yeah, let me answer a few of your guys' questions here, but before I'm going to try to read and also pay attention here because we're getting really close, especially when we start seeing it dump like that. I feel like that's pretty darn close. It's Snoopy22 says, good morning. Thank you so much. Rick, new membership. Thank you. And guys, make sure and let me know if we see the big flare because it is really close to it already. Derek SP, hello, Mr. Timothy Dodster. I am Derek from the National Derek News Agency. I'd like to ask you, what is your opinion about Tory Bruno's mustache? That is a really good question. I think it looks great, personally. I think Tory Bruno can rock a crazy, mean mustache like that. He kind of, oh man, it makes him, he definitely is pulling off the cowboy thing, because he is a genuine, cowboy. He rides horses. He's got that hat. I think with that mustache, he can just totally rock that. And I would love to see him. He needs to take horses to the launch pad sometime. I just feel like with that mustache, he's ready for it. But it was great. I love seeing the different looks of everyone during quarantine. So that was fun. It was awesome. That really made me smile. Derek, till it hurts. Hey Tim, how am I doing today? I'm good. This is an awesome thing to wake up to, seeing him this far along in the fueling process. I thought it was going to be much later today. Yeah, so that's nice. That's awesome. I'm doing great though. Thank you. Roger. Hey Tim, do you think there's going to be? I'm not even going to say it, Roger. No, I don't think there's going to be any problems today because they're getting to the point now where they kind of need to stop blowing stuff up. They're getting a lot better understanding of the systems and everything. And the thing to remember with the way that they're doing things is, yes, they're going to experience problems, but every single one of those can be a lesson for the next time. And when you deal with your systems on a daily basis like this, where they're fueling up almost every day, they're practicing their fueling procedures, they're practicing their this and that, they get really comfortable with their hardware, You can see, I'm definitely not going to say that ULA is not comfortable with their hardware, but when you only fly, 5 times a year as opposed to 20, I don't know, you definitely aren't your teams aren't as, close with the ground hardware. You're not so used to it that it's easy for you. And that's definitely the case with this vehicle. By the time they get ready to truly fly one of these things, I mean, they will have known every in and out of all the little, just the little ticks in it, So they're definitely getting very familiar with it. As you can tell, they're having no problem now just fueling it up first thing in the morning instead of 3 a.m. type of thing. So that's good news that they're just kind of sticking to a better schedule, because we did think that they try to do this basically at the beginning of the window, and they're pretty close. I mean, they're definitely getting more and more on track. So, yeah, we'll watch this machine just kind of oil up and become a well-oiled machine, and to the point where it's just not a big deal at all to fire one off and test the next one. And we'll just see this thing happening back and forth, no big deal. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty exciting. So thank you, Roger. Ben Shea, thank you so much. Wolf Mike, good morning. Just got done with school in Norway. Awesome. I didn't realize school still happens, huh? Huh. Who knew? I thought the whole world was shut down. But that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Daylit Khan, how are you? Would I rather fly on the Saturn V or Starship? Oh, man. That's a really good question. If it was like, if it was Apollo 17, oh, geez. I mean, honestly, the Saturn V and Apollo missions were quite risky. Like, looking back at it now, there were things that just absolutely would not fly today. They gave the original, like Apollo 11, not very good odds of success. So, man, that is... I mean, the idea of a launch abort system still sounds very nice to me. I still think today, if I were to get... Which, by the way, I would really, really, really be hesitant to get on top of a rocket today still. But I'd be even more hesitant if it did not have a launch abort system. So, that being said, if Starship had a launch abort system, if they had just literally a Dragon capsule, a Crew Dragon on top of Starship, yeah, I would do that. That just seems nice and safe. But otherwise I'd have to actually go with the Saturn V. Derek just joined our Discord channel. Welcome, Derek. How are you? Derek from the from the National Derek News Agency. Is it like a news agency that's exclusive to just Derek's? You only write newsletters and news stories for Derek's? Is that what it is? Because that makes sense. That's a good niche. I mean, someone's got to do it. That's awesome. Welcome. If you want to join our Discord channel, go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. We have such an awesome community. People are there all... Derek says he's the only writer and reader. You just write news for yourself, and then you pull it up on a different device and read it. Like, that was a good article. That's amazing. Derek's going to be a welcome member of our community. That's amazing. Oh, it's a day like thanks for the question. I think I'm going to go with Saturn V. But towards the end, after they figured out the pogo issues and all of the problems that plagued the early ones. Man, I learned about the pogo vibrations and all that stuff, and how they damped it out in the J2s and the F1s. They had to do these crazy, all these nutty things. Because the engines were literally shaking at pretty fast and pretty high amplitude. And it, flexing the bulkhead of the tanks. It's insane that it ever actually worked, and that they didn't lose one on ascent. Really, I mean, the whole vehicle. That is okay. There we go. Oh, that's normally a detanking thing. That tends to be detanking. Okay, so that definitely appears to be detanking. Oh, but there is the big flare. I don't know. It definitely seems like that's detanking. But I've been wrong before. Because that is definitely a bigger flare, but also detanking. So who knows? So still keep our eyes on it just in case we're going to still see a static fire. I mean, we'll definitely see one today unless something's definitely not in line, but sometimes with these vehicles, what they have to do, they might have to recycle oxygen or methane if it got too warm and too much of it boiled off. It does have to be at the right operating temperature. So there's a chance that they'll have to recycle one of them. And both of them are cryogenic. So both liquid methane and liquid oxygen are cryogenic. They're similar temperatures, actually. As far as cryogenics go, they do play pretty nice together where they're around the same temperature. I believe they pressurize liquid oxygen. They aren't doing super chilled propellants yet, I don't believe. But right now, I think they're still around minus 180 degrees Celsius for the liquid oxygen, and I don't remember what liquid methane's. And yeah, I don't remember what the liquid methane tanks are. I do not believe that to be an RCS test. I do not believe that's what that was. Okay, another one, another big vent. Okay, the Dying Titan. Good morning, Tim. Have another coffee on me. What do you think losing 6 engines will do to Super Heavy's lift capacity? I know supposedly the supposedly increased thrust by 25%. So all that matters is that your thrust to weight ratio is, well, not all that matters, but as long as your thrust to weight ratio is above 1, and you can, with a vehicle like this, it's fairly modular where they can literally change the amount of rings based on how much thrust it has, and by rings you can therefore fuel it, more or less. You end up just being really changing out your delta V. So if you can lift all that fuel, then you can. And of course, at the beginning of the journey, like the first minute, the most important thing really is gravity loss. Gravity drag is when you're fighting against gravity. So if you're just sitting there at a 1 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, you're literally just wasting fuel. You're not producing any work. Now, if you go to a 1.5 to 1 thrust to weight ratio, you're literally producing infinitely more work than a 1 to 1 because you're now moving at 0.5 G's of relative acceleration. So if you go from 1.5 to 2, you didn't just go, like by, 75% up to, and then 25% more or something. You doubled the amount of work you did. So you gain a lot of efficiency by having a high enough thrust. So if they definitely are able to do like the Super Raptors or whatever they're going to be called on the outer ring that do not throttle as much and have a fixed throttle ratio, or more of a fixed throttle and higher thrust output, then it will negate the use of those extra 6 engines. The engine thing, it's all pretty modular, and they can start off, the whole thing is they'll want to start off with as simple as a vehicle as they can and prove out everything first, right? So I would see that, I could imagine the first Starship that's fully orbital, not even having 31, that they won't try to utilize the full capacity yet and therefore risk all the engines. They might do 24 engines or something like that. Whatever it takes to get the job done, to prove out, everything, which would totally, that would definitely reduce the payload capacity. So the very first one might only be able to take like 30 tons or only 30 tons or something. But from there, once they prove that out, it'd be easy for them, relatively easy for them to swap out and change out thrust structures because this vehicle is relatively modular. I mean, we're seeing them making changes to the design every single time one of these prototypes comes out, and they can just re-engine. Like, yeah, I know it's not as, I'm not trying to simplify it and seem like, well, you just throw more, it's Kerbal Space, space program, we just throw more engines up underneath there, no big deal. Well, they need 31, now they need 37, whatever, just boop, 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 It's not that simple, but at the same time, they are used to rapidly prototyping and engineering things, so going from 31 to 37 or 25 to 31 or whatever isn't going to be that huge of a challenge for them. So yeah. Well, so we'll have to just see, honestly. it definitely looks like they took kind of a step back now that the LOX farm. So see all the condensation in the white, in the kind of the white tank area. That means that they're pressing and getting the liquid oxygen tanks ready. And then we will see that once that kind of goes away, that means they're trying to put that liquid oxygen into the vehicle. So it looks to me like they, and remind me, was it liquid oxygen on the top, liquid oxygen's top tank, liquid methane's bottom tank, if I remember right? If someone can remind me, that'd be great. Okay, so thank you, the Dying Titan. That was a great question. Mike Aloha, where are you? Good morning, evening here in Finland, wearing your science t-shirt. Awesome, and enjoying your live. Keep it going. Always a pleasure. Well, thank you so much, Mike Aloha. That is awesome. I really appreciate that. Yeah, this morning I'm sporting the full flow stage combustion cycle shirt because I feel like it's the right thing to do when they're ready to test fire the Raptor. Yeah. LOX bottom, methane top. Okay. Wait. I'm seeing methane top. Real quickly, I see Jody January asking a fun question. What's my favorite engine flown and why? To be honest, I think I'm starting to, and I'm not quite there yet, but I think my favorite engine, and I totally discounted it in the Raptor engine video, I think one of my favorite engines is the RD270. Yeah, it's an awesome, and because I'm doing a video soon about every Russian engine ever made, and it's going to be it's going to be the whole family tree of Russian rocket engines, and it's going to be incredible. And honestly, it's already making me appreciate Russian engines even more than I already did. So I have a lot of really, really cool videos coming out. There's going to be the next 6 videos coming out are going to be awesome videos. I'm so excited for them. I still have to do one about the kind of the follow-up to the first SLS for Starship, which it's kind of half done, but I had to retweak it after the human lander system stuff got announced. So the next one's actually going to be kind of changed, comparing Artemis to Apollo. Will the Artemis program be cheaper than Apollo? How does it differ? What are the orbits like? Why are the orbits different than Apollo? What is, how is it all going to actually work? And do a full, this is where we really get down into the true cost of the Artemis program. So, yeah, it's going to be, that one's going to be great. I have the Russian engine. We're going to do one about air launching. We're going to do another one then about the kind of why doesn't NASA just replace SLS with commercial options and look at all of the other commercial options available. So we'll dive more into that. So there's kind of 3 that are in a series basically dealing with SLS because it's definitely a hot topic, but it's a deep topic. And then we have that, and then Russian family engines, and then one about nuclear engines. I think will be probably one of the next ones. So a lot of really fun content coming out. I can't wait. And then also driving down to DM2 in the meantime. Well, and we can't look at the old tanks where it says oxygen on top because they definitely have changed more recently. Yeah, someone show me. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, the methane tank is on top. Okay. Gotcha. And that is different than it used to be in the artwork. Cool. Now I remember. I'll try to remember that because I keep forgetting which one it is now. Normally that's something that doesn't change in a vehicle's design, but on a vehicle like this, it changes no problem. Because don't forget, this is still a pretty relatively basic prototype. Serial number 5 is looking like it's going to be a lot more advanced. And then once they figure it out and learn how to make it work, how to build it, game over. They'll just start, they'll be stacking that thing no problem. But meanwhile, I hope we see the 150 meter hop here really soon. And then I hope they roll serial number 5 out, and I hope we see the 20 kilometer hop, within a month or two. Knowing just how long this stuff takes, you always got to kind of double any expectation. That's true. The header LOX tank is up in the nose, which is interesting. Okay, so let's keep answering your guys' questions. Oh, yeah, VA Philly fan. So, yeah, right above my head, above those 3 black tanks, there is the methane flare. So that is where they store methane. They store it in liquid form. When it heats off and boils off into a gas, they then vent that out, and then they light it just to make sure they don't have any big pockets of methane flying out there. Also, as far as CO2 emissions or as greenhouse gas as far as greenhouse gases are concerned, burning it off is actually better than just letting it be pure methane in the atmosphere. So it is good to burn it off too. Like I said, that will be gone though pretty soon. They're going to be just continually repressing it with a compressor and a motor, and using their solar farm to keep their methane completely intact, which will be great. Oh, cool. Here we go. Geez, there's a lot. Hang on. So liquid methane is minus 161 degrees centigrade, and liquid oxygen is minus 183, basically 183. So they're very similar. So around 160 and around 180. So that's very, very close as far as cryogenic fuels are concerned, because like liquid hydrogen is near minus 400 or something, and when you have liquid oxygen and RP1 is basically room temperature. They just load it up without any real consideration. SpaceX does actually chill theirs down to, I think, near freezing, but still, you're looking at a huge temperature gradient between those, and these are actually very, very similar. Yeah, I know minus 400 is impossible, but it isn't like minus 380 or something. It's very cold. Oh, I thought that was a car driving out. I was like, no. Use Kelvin. Okay. 111 Kelvin and 90.1 Kelvin. There you go. Oh, minus 273 is absolute zero. Sorry, you're right. What is it, minus 260 or something? Someone remind me. I'm sorry, my science is wrong. Yu Yang photoshopped me and a banana against Starship, which you basically wouldn't even see a banana. It's like it'd be a pixel. Yeah. Liquid hydrogen is very, very close to absolute zero, though. This is not going to take off today. This will be just an engine test this morning. Yeah, so get ready for that. Okay, let's keep answering you guys' questions. Marori or Miri I, when will Starlink 7 be happening? It's going to be happening after Demo 2 now. I think mostly because they, didn't want to take their the drone ship out there. Of course, I still love you. Have it be used for Starlink and then come back. And by the time it comes back, it would really be hard to offload the rocket. And then, ooh, that is a different cloud of condensation that I've never seen before. Huh. It seems like a lot of extra venting of liquid oxygen. So currently Starlink is going to be after Demo 2, and Demo 2 is scheduled for May 27th. And I will be attending and I'm only attending, please, again, friendly reminder, please do not drive down to Florida. If you are not official member of press, credentialed with NASA to view or, working on the mission for DM2, please just don't risk it at this point. Yes, I know it's an exciting mission, but there's going to be a lot of other missions, and we don't want to risk the whole area, we don't want to risk the people there, and especially astronauts and stuff. Like, let's not let's not put them at risk, and the people working, and even all the people that work at restaurants and everything. If all of a sudden the Space Coast just had 500,000 people drive from all around the country to view this mission, that'd be a very bad thing. That'd be a very, very bad thing. So let's just not do that, please. But yeah, I will be going. They have very strict safety protocol that we will be following. And I will be following that. I will be driving for that reason. Yeah, it's going to be a different mission. But NASA and SpaceX, and I'll try to bring you guys the best coverage I can too. But NASA and SpaceX will be covering it extremely well. Yeah. All right, let me keep reading here. HDHN's Hawk. Hey, Hawk. Why don't you stream other launches such as Ariane, Space Force, Cosmos, and Chinese launches? I answered this yesterday. Sorry if you guys are hearing me repeat this, but I only will do launches that I'm extremely familiar with a launch vehicle. And for me, currently, it does happen to be pretty much every United States launch vehicle, unfortunately, and of course, our little friends with Rocket Lab's Electron. I'm very familiar with that vehicle too. But for me, the Soyuz has been flying in some form or another with the R7 variant for 60 years, and I still have never done a deep enough dive for me to just be able to casually talk about it. I don't want to say something completely wrong and just spread misinformation about it, like a vehicle, and be like, see, there we go, those side boosters, yep, they actually run on, on clouds. I don't know. I don't want to just be completely wrong when because I'm coming from a position of authority, right? I don't want to just be sitting there spewing misinformation, right? So if someone tunes into my launches, I want to at least know enough to be able to know that I'm wrong, right? And I feel like with Soyuz, Ariane, I don't even know enough to know that I'm wrong. I'm not even in the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'd be near the top of the you don't know how much you don't know yet. And that will change. I think, honestly, the Russian rocket engine video that I'm working on will give me a lot better sense of some of the stuff with the Soyuz vehicle. And I'm probably getting close to being able to comfortably cover a Soyuz launch. But it's, yes, I know. You guys don't have to tell me that Rocket Lab is technically a U.S. rocket. It's an interesting thing. But I'm going to go ahead and say it's a New Zealand company because, frankly, it's only a U.S. company, so they can do U.S. contracts and stuff and have, access to all that stuff. So it's a New Zealand rocket company. Although they do have to do the engines and avionics here in the United States for that reason, basically. But yeah, and same with the Ariane 5, Chinese launch vehicles. I feel like I'm almost getting close to ISRO stuff to kind of know their stuff, but I'll get there someday. It needs to be after I do a deep dive on something for me to really understand it, grasp it well enough to really feel like and besides that, if I start covering every single launch, I probably won't get any videos done because this stuff takes a lot of time, and yeah, just sitting here instead of researching and working on videos. So look at that. So now that there's no more condensation in the tank farm, that likely means they're going to refuel again now. So we're probably about 30-ish minutes away from the next attempt. It seems like the last one was not optimal and they recycled, and that appears to be where we're at right now. So normally now the LOX farm's all settled down, it likely means they are filling it back up to the brim inside the vehicle. Okay. All right, let me keep going here. So that's why Hayden Hinshawk. Jim, thanks for the membership. Killer, how do the fuel lines attach to Starship? So they have these things called umbilicals, and I'm not familiar with how SpaceX is really doing it right now with Starship per se. But that is something that I want to do a video on too, is ground systems. So that's another one that I have in my list that I never ever catch up on. But it is how you do fueling and things like that. But there's these umbilicals, and they have to have this the ability to rapidly detach, so they don't stay connected to the vehicle as the vehicle lifts off. But they're these big fuel hoses. They pop them in, and they also have the electrical and communication, all that type of stuff plugged in too. And then when the vehicle goes on internal power and all that stuff, they can disconnect all that stuff. So yeah, awesome. So there you go. That's that. Okay. Good question though, Killer. Chris, thanks for the membership. Night Fox. Hey Tim, good evening from Japan. Looking forward to another static fire. Can't wait for this thing to finally make the 150 meter hop. This will be a crazy thing to see hop 150 meters. Honestly, as we played around in Kerbal yesterday, it's definitely going to slide a little bit sideways because of the the offset engine, and or fly a little bit crooked. It's going to be honestly pretty cool to see. So I can't wait. It'll be really, really fun. So thanks, Night Fox. The Cloud Yeti, how's it going? Hey Tim, have you heard of any system Starship is going to help with space junk? I know a lot of shuttle front windows were replaced due to impacts. Just wondering what would happen if there was an impact to the fuel tank. So that's the good thing about stainless steel. It is definitely more impact resistant than carbon fiber. It has a lot more ductility, so it'd be more likely just to dent rather than just crack. So it would probably handle an impact better, but it would be even better if they had multi-layers, almost like a Whipple shield, and had like a really thin layer on the outside or something, to really be able to keep it safe. But as far as I think Starship would be better than a carbon composite vehicle. I'll say that, but I don't know how it would hold up compared to, say, aluminum. But space debris is a problem, and it isn't. It's a calculated problem. They actually literally know approximately how much of all that stuff. So it is where, and they keep a pretty good track of almost everything in space. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. That's a good question, though. Hey, guys, I'm going to top off on more coffee. Maybe that'll be the good luck thing. I will be right back. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? I missed the static fire, I'm sure. God, you guys are so predictable. Also, I feel like I should mention, if if you're tuning in, yes, these are potentially the most boring things you can watch, but simultaneously like the most exciting things. So I feel like I should do the rundown of what we're actually looking at here. So this is, of course, SpaceX's Starship prototype. I feel like now is a good time for me to do one of my where we do the progress here. So SpaceX has been working on a prototype vehicle like this. They've currently built over 26 Raptor engines to date. I actually think they're over 30 now. They flew Starhopper last year. That's the only one to have flown. It flew 20-meter hop and then a 150-meter hop. All this is to eventually make this massive vehicle that will be able to take 150 metric tons to low Earth orbit. That is insane. And be fully reusable. We're talking about like every bit of it reused. No big deal. Altogether, the vehicle will be 9 meters wide, 30 feet wide. The entire stack will be 120 meters tall. That's huge. Like, that's what, 380 feet tall or something, like over 35 stories tall, like almost a 40-story tall building. Like, that is insane. It'll be absolutely massive. Yeah, it is really going. Hey, we are going to pull back a few of our things because it definitely seems like they're a ways back in the fueling process. They definitely seem to have started over, basically. So I'm going to update that real quick. But so far, we saw the Mark 1 and Mark 2 prototypes be built at the end of last year. Mark 1 is built in Boca Chica, Texas, which is where this vehicle is. And Mark 2 was being built in Cocoa, Florida, just kind of off-site. And Neil Price, yes, I'm so happy to see Neil. And Mark 2 is being built in Cocoa, Florida. Both of those really, in the grand scheme of things, were really just more of like a mock-up than, oh, there we go. There's the top venting. Okay, so that's likely going to be, that was about the right-sized one for the beginning of fuel. Okay, cool. Let's update that already. We are seeing venting back on the vehicle. So, okay, so Mark 2 was obviously, it's still actually out there in Cocoa, Florida. Not Cocoa Beach, Cocoa proper, just north of the highway there. The beach line, as people call it, or the B line. So just north of there, in Cocoa, you can still see Mark II, and I don't know what it's going to do. Maybe they can move it to like I don't know. It's just a giant silo at this point. So after that, they took Mark 1 out to the pad. They tested it for whatever reason, even though it was very like shoddy construction, but they still tested it. I think just to kind of get used to the fueling and how do you move it and stuff like that. So they did that, and it blew up, as most people were expecting. After that, they made a pressure test vessel, which was a smaller vehicle. That one blew up. I think then they made pressure test 2. That one held up. So then they made serial number 1. Serial number 1 blew its bottom off, and the thrust structure, where they mount the Raptor engines to the base of the tanks, that blew off the bottom, and the whole vehicle actually took off because of all the depressurization. It just literally like whoosh, took off, and it was absolutely wild. So then they had to build serial number 2, which was just a subscale test vehicle or test pressure to mostly work on that thrust structure and how you make that secure. So that survived. That looked good. That held up to, I think, 8.5 bar, which is 2.5 times the operating pressure. And then a little more than that, actually, because operating pressure is 3 bar, and then under G loads at 6 bar. So then your margin of safety, they're almost 3 times really. So 8.5 bar, which is great. Then they built serial number 3, which ended up having a mistake when they were fueling it up. They went out there and they were pressure testing it with liquid nitrogen, and the bottom tank, which is so what we see here. The first like bottom 3 or 4 rings are the kind of the thrust structure, and inside there are the Raptor engines, and then above that, where that next COPV is, that big black thing kind of off to the left, there's about another, I don't know, 8-ish rings or 4 or something, I can't really tell, but about the next third there, that is the liquid oxygen tank, and then from there above is the liquid methane tank. And what happened to serial number 3 was they accidentally had a fueling error in their code. that made the top fill up before the bottom. And so therefore, all of a sudden, the top is starting to weigh several hundred or thousands of tons, and the bottom didn't have enough pressure to hold that, and it fell over. So that was a whoopsie. And now this is serial number 4, which has really gone through quite the test campaign already. Honestly, it's gone through quite a bit. So that is really, it's been holding up a lot better. So this is giving, I think, SpaceX, but also SpaceX fans, a lot more confidence that at least the manufacturing process they have now is a lot stronger and a lot closer to actually being able to hold up and prepare for flight. So this vehicle will do a very, very small flight. It'll mostly be to validate the fueling systems, a little bit of the RCS that they're developing for now, which is still appears to be a cold gas thruster. We did see it fire off yesterday. And then from there, they just will, they'll just keep going, and they'll just keep making it more and more advanced, hopping higher and higher, doing more and more advanced flights. It's a really interesting test campaign. We really haven't seen anything like this in a long time. So it's pretty different, pretty wild, and really fun. So when you kind of know, when you kind of know what's going on here with this vehicle, it's pretty fun to follow along for all the little things that are happening. So even though this is a really boring, if you're watching the stream, this is going to be likely an hour or two of seeing a vehicle do almost nothing, different things venting, different things having condensation around, and then all of a sudden you're here to watch about 3 seconds of a Raptor engine fire. It'll literally just go, and that's that's it. That's what we're waiting for. That's why there are 13,500 people watching the stream right now for that little tiny moment. But that is an exciting moment. That is still telling us what's going to be going on, and if they can make it to the next step, which will be getting ready to actually hop this thing. That giant 9-meter wide, 30-meter tall, massive, basically a grain silo is going to take off of the stand. And there's actually 6 legs folded up underneath there that are just going to pop out. They're teeny tiny little legs. They're going to pop out, and that thing will land. It'll land about 150 meters downrange. So it'll kind of do that same, very similar hop as Starhopper. So yeah, it'll be awesome. So let me get back to answering your guys' questions here. Yes, this is why we watch this stuff. This is what this is for. I feel like because we need to remember to thank Gene and Rachel for their awesome hard work this morning. Getting out there already after their anniversary last night. They still got up nice and early this morning and boated out to their secret spot that is outside of the exclusion zone to be able to cover this for us. So Gene and Rachel from, you guys know them on Twitter as Spadre, but their Twitter handle is @SpacePadreIsle. Please give them a little love. Follow them on Twitter, say hi, say thank you. They're kicking some butt. I sent them one of my cameras down there. We're rocking a 150 to 500 millimeter lens, but it's on a micro four thirds camera. So we have basically 300 to 1,000 millimeters of focal length. They can record this stuff in 4K, 120 frames a second. This is going to be awesome. So so thank you, Rachel and Gene, and happy anniversary. It's awesome. All right, so Dog Cruise, thanks for the great side view. You're welcome. Again, thank you, Rachel and Gene, because they're kicking some butt for us. Robert Reinard, thank you so much. Think about it. Thanks. Keep going. You're welcome. I will. Thank you so much. Grayson Kempster, what's the heaviest payload ever delivered to LEO? I think the heaviest single payload ever delivered to LEO would have been Skylab, which launched on a Saturn V. Basically replaced the S4B, the third stage of the Saturn V, was basically just replaced with an entire payload. So Skylab was literally like a reconfigured vehicle. Basically, it was literally like the tank turned into a space station, and I think that's the heaviest single payload ever delivered to space. Am I wrong? Was that the? Yeah, is that does anyone know? It has to be Skylab. I mean, but it might technically having the S4B and the actual Apollo stack might be heavier delivered to LEO, but as far as like end destination, Skylab for sure. No, Buran I don't think was as heavy as Skylab. But that's what's funny is Buran would be technically just a payload because it did not provide its own propulsion on Energia. So, but that was close to 100. Wasn't that like almost 100 tons or 80 tons or something? I mean, it's a heavy vehicle. Okay. Good question, Grayson. I read the real chat, EEV01. Pfft. Ha! Doesn't think I read chat. I'm trying to catch up on all the people that have also done super chat because I feel like it's unfair to try to, you know, it's not fair to ignore them too. So I'm trying to do everything here. It's hard though when there's 13,000 of you guys to keep up with everything. So I do my best. I do know who iJustine is. I don't know why that has anything to do with Starship. But she's OG. She is like the OG YouTuber. She's awesome. She's been just killing it for years and years and years. Okay, Philip Moyer, do we only see condensation directly from the base of the engine is undergoing or has undergone chill down? I think that's fairly correct. You know, I think definitely when the engine is going through chill down, you do see a lot. I think we're coming back. I think we're coming back. Give me a second here, guys. Hopefully we'll reacquire the live view. This is on my end. If you think Boca Chica has internet problems, apparently not, because this is all on my end here. It's don't worry. In less than 1 month, I will be sitting on 10 gig internet. Yes, you heard that right. 10 gig. Okay, hold on. I might have to restart OBS here for a second. So you're gonna get another blackout, but because I have not been able to reacquire the live view unit. Hang on, let me try this. I'll just go like this. Hi guys, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Sometimes doing this will require the live view, but that does not seem to be the case. Oh, there it goes. Okay, good. Okay, we're back. Don't panic. Everybody panic, and then no one panic. All right. Reload the stream, everybody. We are back at it, so let's get caught back up. I don't know what happened. Okay, so Philip, that was a great question about condensation coming from the base of the engine, the base of the vehicle. It might just be because for a little bit, you know, that is where all the coldness is hanging out there, and who really knows. But we are seeing new venting again, so that is good. Oh, no. Isn't it sad? Isn't it sad that the least reliable thing is me? Is my end? Like, how can that be? Okay. Reload, everybody. Reload. And we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and refresh stuff. So, okay. Everything's good now. It's funny. So yeah, I had to restart OBS. Isn't that sad that OBS is the least reliable thing here? That Rachel and Gene are literally in the middle of nowhere where there's like not even cell phone signal, and I can get them good signal to me, but I can't get you guys good signal because either OBS is being a cranky little turd, or my current internet is a cranky little turd. But again, like I said, in 1 month, I will be in a new studio space. I will have a 10 gig internet access. 10 gig. 10 freaking gig. Like, hello. That's going to be incredible. Can't wait to get back on CFU, the Cedar Falls Utilities. It's going to be incredible. So, okay. Let me try to catch up on you guys. Sorry here. Why don't we see the same amount of ice on Starship during static fires as we do during cryo tests? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, during the day, we don't see nearly as much. I just figured this out yesterday. During the heat and during the day, you just don't see as much frost, if any, really, just because it is so much warmer and directly in the sun. But during the cryo test, I think they actually do fill it to the brim. And that's why we see the frost line go all the way. Turn up slow mode, as in, like, make it slower or less slow? Hang on. I'm also having problems with YouTube right now. Can we get any more problems with anything? Just stack them all on top of each other. Every problem. Okay, let me make sure. Okay. Let's try to get caught up now. Now I think everything's back on track. We're looking good. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, so during cryo tests, though, they actually do fill the tanks all the way to the brim. And when they're doing static fires and stuff, they only fill it a little bit, as full as necessary. So when they're filling it with liquid nitrogen, they are filling it to the brim. We do see frost on the entire vehicle. During the first couple hops, we're not going to see the tanks anywhere near full still. We're going to see them just filling it enough. But if they fill it too much, the single Raptor engine can't lift it. So they literally can only fill it a little bit, like almost only filling the bulkheads is about all the single Raptor can lift. Although the crazy thing is this taller vehicle is probably lighter weight than Starhopper. So that's kind of cool. So they could add more fuel to it compared to Starhopper because it is a lighter weight vehicle than Starhopper. I guarantee it is actually, because it's a lot thinner steel, a lot more precisely engineered, not just thrown together like Starhopper was. I mean, it still might seem like it's kind of thrown together, but compared to Starhopper. Okay, so good question. The Salty Gamer, hey Tim, are you going to do a video on Skylon and the Sabre engine? Yes, because I'm going to remake a video about single stage to orbit vehicles. I have something that I'm doing before that to get back into that video, and I think either that or there might be two parts to it. We might focus on Skylon and the Sabre engine in one video, but have it tied together with the single stage to orbit stuff. So I need to remake that video. That video I focused a lot on rockets, and of course a lot of people were complaining that I didn't even really hardly touch on space planes and that type of stuff. But the answer to all of that is, if it was just that easy, it would be what is done, and that's just simply not the case. Okay, so yeah, I will definitely be doing that for sure, Salty. Thank you. Let's see, Jalapeno Mac. For some reason, when I read it like that, it did not look right. Jalapeno Mac, hi. Great content, keep it up. Thank you so much. Tom Newman, are there any plans for the first takeoff? Again, kind of milestone based. Once this vehicle does static fire, then we will hopefully see it get ready for the hop, and that could be really soon. Like, that could be this week. I wouldn't be surprised if it's this week, actually. I really hope it's before I go down to Florida, because I don't know how I'll really be able to stream it in the middle of nowhere, especially on my drive down and stuff like that. So I might have to prepare my laptop, I guess, to be able to stream this for you guys if it does happen before DM2 or immediately after DM2, which is May 27th. But there's a chance we'll see it before then. So we will see. Okay, that's kind of the current plan, though. So pay attention to the NOTAMs, the Notice to Airmen, which is kind of lets us know how high they're planning to. They actually had the opportunity to. They were scheduled to be doing like the 20-kilometer hop, I believe, at this point, or at least the 150-meter hop, but they have changed it for now. What engines are on the X-37B? Ask Corona Kivo in our Discord. I don't actually know what engine. There's only a single engine, really, besides thrusters, and it's just like an on-orbit maneuvering thruster. It's not a very big engine. So I don't actually know what exactly, but it might be something similar to like a Bantam, some kind of relatively small hypergolic something. Yeah. David says, good morning, Tim. Please consider answering some unpaid for questions. David, first off, huge thank you for your really, really generous tip. But to be like, I do answer unpaid for questions. I try, but the problem is I'm 2/3 down with people. I'll have to play catch up for like, even after this, for like the next hour, just to keep up with the people that have generously donated. So it's like a moral quandary for me. I don't want to ignore those people, because then like that's kind of a mean thing to do. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah. So yeah, tell me what to do. I mean, I just feel like I got to make it through these. That's I feel like what the right thing is to do, and I try to catch these ones over here too. So and Discord, but I just kind of people are wanting to know a local time check. So it is currently 10:09 right now, and I do need to still get a clock up. I forgot to do that yesterday, but I will get a clock up for you guys. But it sounds like the testing window has been extended until 4 p.m. Hang on. It sounds like the test window just got extended to 4 p.m., which likely means they are not going to be testing it right now. So this might be getting pushed to later. So hold on. Okay, let me just keep trying to answer you guys' questions. But yeah, David, it's a hard balance because I don't want to neglect the YouTube chat, but also when there's 13,000 people, 10,000 people, it's just I can't keep up with them. Like there's no way possible. I can't even keep up with you guys in the super chat, and I don't know. I just try to answer whatever I can and do whatever I can, while still trying to remind people of like what we're looking at and stuff like that. There's only so much time I can answer questions and do things. So I'm trying my best. I am trying my best. But thank you, David. Jackies or Waquez or however you would say that. Sorry. Hey, Everyday Astronaut, you are a legend. So I saw this suggested. Been working so much, I missed a lot. How long until ignition? Big love from South Africa. That is the big question. That is definitely the question we're all wanting to know is when is ignition? It's honestly, it's kind of sounding like that they're, unfortunately, it sounds like they're trying for later today, maybe, because they pushed the window back. And it seems like they're offloading the vehicle. There is no more venting like anywhere. Yeah, we'll just kind of stay tuned here. Hang on. Okay, so let me keep going here. My guess is now this will be pushed to later, so fingers crossed that we'll still see a static fire happen today. But if the the road closure got extended, so yeah, if the road closure got extended to 4, that probably means that they experienced some kind of problem and are not ready to do a full static fire yet. So we will see. I'll keep going though here. Jelly Dude, how's it going? Hey Tim, continuing work on the X-37B and KSP. 2 questions. What are the differences on the auto struts? And does a payload will affect the launch in KSP? So the auto struts, I normally do auto strutting to grandparent parts. What that means is it like skips the part and goes to like the next part. So just kind of, if you do a lot of your struts and as that, it'll really help. If you go to the heaviest part, that can offer, it's good sometimes, but other times it'll, as your weight changes, all of a sudden say you're draining a fuel tank and now that fuel tank's empty, what it's auto started to will change. So it'll go now to the next heaviest part. And that can offer up some problems actually. So I tend to just use grandparent parts to keep everything sturdy, but also consider putting some traditional struts. If it's wobbly on ascent at all, you can do more struts. You can also lower your gimbals and make it so it's not overreacting to everything, because you can develop these oscillations if the vehicle is wobbly. So that would be what I would do. And then the other question, a payload of course affects the launch a little bit, but you shouldn't have a huge payload in there. Your fuel or your payload is going to be substantially less than the fuel in the vehicle and stuff like that. So as long as it's all in line, it's not like you're gonna have your payload way off to the side or anything, but it is a consideration, but it shouldn't affect it almost that much at all. But just make sure everything's, solidly strutted in place for launch. And yeah, hopefully you get it figured out. I just basically copy what I did yesterday. It wasn't the most graceful or glorious looking vehicle, but it at least worked. It's something. It was way too big, that was for sure, but that's unfortunately all we have to work with in parts. Medarius, maybe you could do a sort of research stream or video series where we learn together. It would also help show how to research things as you are excellent. Well, thank you, Medarius. Unfortunately, it would be literally hours of me just reading like research papers. Like here, let me like I said yesterday, the best way to research something, let me just show you guys this since we're not really doing anything here. Scholar.google.com. This way you can find papers. So let's say we're looking at rocket emissions, right? So observations of stratospheric ozone depletion associated with Delta II rocket emissions. Let's click on this. Oh, let's find this. And then, I basically will just sit here and read through this for a long time. That's what the stream would be, unfortunately, is like literally just me reading. Like that. I mean, I don't think too many people would want to do that. But that is honestly something that we kind of do that in our Discord channel quite a bit. Like I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to be reading through this. Does anyone else want to read this with me? And we tend to read quite a bit of the same things together. And also, like, it's fun because we do at least come up with some of those things together. So I don't think it's stream worthy. It's definitely not stream worthy, but it is fun for the community. But yeah, good question though. But scholar.google.com, a good place to start often is Wikipedia, but that is obviously like the first place to start. Is just like literally where do I start will be Wikipedia, of course. And that's so funny when I'll be like, hey, can anyone help me find something like on Twitter if I've come upon a dead end, and people will send me the Wikipedia article. Like I haven't Googled that exactly, it's like, guys, no. I'm trying to find, like, I'll be like, does anyone know an expert on stratospheric CO2 emissions or something, and people will be like, they just Google CO2 or something. I'm like, no. But with Wikipedia, at least, the good thing is if you go find the sources at the bottom of the articles, you can normally start there and at least start to find some research hole. And then the cool thing is, once you find a paper on, say, we'll just say stratospheric CO2 emissions, oftentimes that paper will cite other sources. So then you can find those papers. And that's often how I go through like these research rabbit holes. I'll just be following the paper trail because in the middle of the paper, there might be like, as mentioned by so-and-so, and they'll have this little citation of who they're quoting for their research. And I'll go read that one too. So it's just kind of doing a bunch of that type of stuff. So I feel like they teach that stuff at some point in college, probably. Yeah, I don't know, but that's how I do it. Tuba Horse, even if you just stream the launch and hang out, I'd enjoy it. You could work on videos and just chat with us occasionally. That might be what I end up having to do. Jeez, people, I'm not going to stream me reading. I'm sorry, that's just weird. That is just weird. That is funny, though. Thanks, Tuba Horse. Felix, how's it going? Felix from What About It. How are you? Coffee, money for Rachel, Tim, and Jean. Thank you for all your hard work. Or all your work. I projected the word hard. Sorry. How are you, Felix? Everyone, I'm sure you're familiar with What About It. Felix is one of the top people keeping us on top of all of the little minute changes that are constantly happening in Boca Chica. Felix is awesome. So I definitely think, there's Felix, there's Marcus House, there's Space Eccentric, there's Tomorrow, TMRO. Those are some of the top YouTube channels that are covering the weekly and the bi-weekly even for some of them, the little bits of news and all the little things happening, the little changes, the little updates. It's seriously insanely hard work, and Felix just does an incredible job. Felix is definitely one of my go-tos when I'm watching and making sure I'm on top of this stuff. So, yeah, everyone say hi to Felix. Fun that he's in here. And I met Felix. I got to meet Felix just last year, or was this year in February. Yeah, I think in February-ish, maybe early March. In February, right before CRS 20. Yeah, awesome stuff. Great guy. Okay, Alan. Hey, Tim, big fan of your content. Wish you all the best. What do you think of the future of space travel holds for us? Star Trek-like? I think we're going to be bound to our solar system, at least human travel to our solar system for at least the next 30 years, 40 years, probably, unless we find some massive breakthrough in physics. At least, I would say 50 years, because even if we find a breakthrough in physics or something like that, it'll take a while to exploit it and learn how to turn it into working propulsion and things like that. There's going to be a lot of other considerations, but I think for the next 50 years, humanity is going to be pretty well, grappled down to our solar system. So that's my personal opinion. But yeah, it'll be fun though eventually if we start to figure out like warp drives and stuff like that. So yeah. But for now, that's kind of just a dream. So, and Neil Price, one of my very best friends, Neil Price, saying hi, Dad. Thank you, Neil. Oh, there is a big flare. Neil, you triggered the big flare. Thank you for doing that. But I'm afraid that big flare, since barring nothing else on the vehicle, I think this is just totally detanking, honestly, of the methane tanks. So I would not be surprised at all if we see cars start going back to the pad. And just a friendly reminder, it is 10:20 a.m. local time. So thanks, Neil. Everyone say hi to Neil. Night Fox, I love watching starships grow so much better than watching grass. It's true. It feels similar, though. It's like very little bits of progress at a time, but it is very fun to keep on top of. So, Antichrist. I'm really anti-Chris. Will they revisit propulsive landing Crew Dragon? They will not revisit that. Definitely not. The Crew Dragon, look at how hard it's been for them just to certify parachutes. Parachutes, nice and easy, right? Now imagine trying to add on top of that propulsive landing. And NASA just has no real interest in doing that. Not only do you have to worry about, the actual sequence of that type of stuff and the backups and all the what if this, but rearming your abort system before landing. Also having to worry about the heat shield, having legs protrude through the heat shield. There's a lot of considerations. I did a video about it probably about 2.5 years ago, probably almost 3 years ago now, why SpaceX gave up on propulsive landing of the Dragon capsule. And it's more true now than ever, especially now that we know how hard it's been to certify the whole vehicle, period, and how it still hasn't flown yet. I think back in 2017 when I made that video, it seemed like we're right around the corner. Like 2018 was the year we're going to see Dragonfly with people on it. And here we are, 2020, it still hasn't happened yet. So, that's it definitely won't happen. And the more time they would spend on that, any research time, any engineering R&D that they would spend on trying to make Dragon propulsively land, they could be working on Starship. So, it's like, what would you rather do? Work on something that really has almost no benefit and it will be obsolete as soon as Starship's flying, or put that towards Starship? And I think SpaceX is clearly putting it towards Starship. Like, they're trying to get the job done for NASA, give NASA a nice, safe vehicle to send crew up to the International Space Station, and maybe eventually send them on further deep space missions or whatever. But for now, just get them up to the International Space Station, get that done, and just be done with it, instead of continually trying to iterate, like I said, something that will be completely obsolete here very quickly. So yeah, good question though. Geek Till It Hurts. How is this compared to watching paint dry? Very similar, frankly, but with one exciting event normally at the end. Thing. But generally, this is the rocket nerd version of watching paint dry. Oh yes, exciting stuff. We eventually get to see the full flow stage combustion cycle Raptor engine. Just seeing that thing light and hearing it roar is always exciting. So yeah. Which, by the way, I do have that, and I'm sure you guys have all seen this, but this still is the craziest thing to me, that this is one of Elon's favorite shirts. And he even says that. Yeah, it's one of my favorite shirts. I have that in writing. Like, who gets that kind of endorsement? That, yeah, it's one of my favorite shirts. That is the craziest thing ever. Yep. So, yeah, I do really, really like this shirt. It's still one of my favorites. everydayastronaut.com/shop. And you can check out, we do have, this new shirt is probably going to be my new favorite shirt, frankly. This is a new shirt for Future Martian Society featuring Arcadia Planitia, which is the prime area where SpaceX is looking to land Starship. And those are the exact coordinates of the primary landing site that they're looking at the Prime A candidate landing site. And then it says in situ resource utilization. And for fun, on the sleeve, too, it also has all of Mars's a little fact sheet for Mars. So in case you forget what the gravity is on Mars, and the atmospheric composition. And then a friendly reminder, not suitable for EVA use, life support required. So this is going to be an awesome new shirt, Future Martian t-shirt 2.0, because we had the old Future Martian t-shirt. This one is much updated, and much, much, much better. And of course, if you work in the aerospace industry, you can click here, receive 25% off apparel. So that's my thank you to you. But you can also take, if you work in the aerospace industry, you can take 50% off any of our face masks too, that are space themed. So I imagine if you are working on aerospace equipment, at least this would make you chuckle a little bit, because we have the actual the exact warning label from the hatch on the International Space Station is one of them. We also have normal masks, and another one too: do not open except for use or inspection, clean for pressurization service. So these are new. It's kind of weird that we're living in an era where people are required to have to wear face masks, occasionally cloth masks in some areas, but you might as well have fun, I guess. Have some kind of identity. But again, if you work in the aerospace industry, please click on down here, enter your work email. If it's an approved domain, you will get sent a coupon code. And that is my thank you to you for helping to get humans off this planet. So yeah, everydayastronaut.com/shop. This helps a lot. So thank you guys so much for those of you that do support and shop around. It's, I really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun with our shop. And surprisingly, they're kind of back on track. It took us a while to get caught up with everything going on. And unfortunately, the shop, our e-commerce guy's uncle actually passed from COVID. So that was, and got in a car accident on the same day. So yeah, whoops, that was not a fun week. So, okay, Kronos, how will Starship fit as a lunar lander for SLS? It will not have anything to do directly with SLS. Starship will have to get itself out there and do all of it on its own, which will also require, we're gonna, real quick before I forget, we're gonna get rid of the venting, because I think they're detanking and pretty much done with this now. So 1 second. So yeah, they are definitely. So Starship will have to be, this is why Starship is kind of like the Hail Mary. If Starship happens to be the first of the human lander services, of the first of those vehicles to land on the moon, it would be absolutely unbelievable, because it is by far the most ambitious project that has been even considered. So here's what has to happen in order to get the human lander service, the lunar lander version of Starship there. You have to first launch it on top of a super heavy booster, get it into low Earth orbit, and then, and barring all that, you have to have Starship far enough along in the development that it can do all this to begin with. So get it into low Earth orbit. From there, then they refuel it with like 3 or 4 other tankers. So you have to then have 3 or 4 more launches of Starship, dock them together, fuel it up, and get it full enough that it can get itself out to the moon, do a translunar injection, get out to the moon, land on the moon, and then, or at least get into the near rectilinear halo orbit first, and then it would dock with Orion from there, take crew from Orion into Starship down to the surface of the moon. So that's what will happen. We'll talk a lot about that in the next video that I'm currently working on. So, but it definitely is not sitting on top of SLS or anything. So, but that's how it will fit into that whole system. So the human lander system is almost a separate thing. Like it's in the contracts that the landers need to basically get themselves out to this near rectilinear halo orbit, which is a really interesting orbit, and then SLS and Orion will meet them there. So the idea is really the way you need to think about it is right now the safest way to get humans to the moon, and it's literally done, is SLS and Orion. And I'm sorry, you cannot argue with me about that, because it is all fully certified. Once SLS flies once, it'll be certified, because it is using heritage hardware and it is over-engineered to that degree. So it is considered totally safe. Hey, we are actually seeing fueling here, or detanking more, but that might just be the end of the detanking. Who knows? We'll keep an eye on it, though. Huh. That is a long one. That is a long one. But let's just keep our eye on it here. That's definitely detanking. So, anyway, yeah, so then it is, the lander itself will just have to get out there. So for like Blue Origin and the national team, it'll be, Hold on. All right, so yeah, and we'll, like I said, I'll get really, really, really into that to figure it out, because it is definitely a thing that we need to talk about, comparing Apollo and Artemis, because they're very different ways to get to the moon. Very different ways. So great question. James, Elon should chop up and sell pieces of each used prototype to sell as collectibles, emboss the company logo and sell them for $50 a pop. See, now people keep I need to just pin this one. Can someone find the... Can someone find... Actually, I bet if we do an advanced search for me, Twitter advanced search, I bet if we just search me saying the word Cybertruck, we'll find it. But Elon's already making a version of Cybertruck based on like Mark 1 prototypes. Maybe 2 words, Cybertruck. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see here. But basically, I asked Elon if the scrap from Mark 1 could be used to make Cybertruck, and he said yes. And then I heard it literally was being taken. The scrap was literally being taken there. Hang on here. Where was that? I don't know. Someone can find it. But yeah. Oh, wait, here we go. That was serial number 2. No, that was serial number 2. I don't know where it is, but if someone can find it, let me know. But yeah, basically, you'll be able to buy a Starship Cybertruck edition. And I don't know if it'll be the whole vehicle made out of that stainless steel or like just the parts of the interior or something, but there already will be a SpaceX Cybertruck edition based on the stainless steel. So that is happening. You'll just, instead of it being $50 and a little logo or something, you'll have to buy a Cybertruck. But hey, that'll make me do it. James, yep. So thank you, James. Sohab, thank you for the dancing pair. I really appreciate it. Nasir, thanks for the membership. Matt, thank you. Carbon Aerospace. Hey, Tim, how's it going? It's going fantastic. I'm doing great. I'm really happy to hang out here and hopefully catch a static fire here today, although we're clearly seeing them detank. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much, random person in Discord. Literally random person. Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm talking about here. This is happening. So Elon said on November 24th, reason Cybertruck is so planar, however you say that word, is that you can't stamp ultra hard 300X steel because it breaks the stamping press. And I said, please tell me we can order a very special edition that has steel from Mark 1. That'd be the ultimate recycling one too. And Elon said, really? Okay, sure. So, and apparently they're actually doing that. So there you go. It happens. And it's happening, people. It's happening. I'm so glad we have random person in our Discord now. Welcome, random person. Planar. Okay. Planar. Thank you. Now I know. But it's going great, Carbon. Thank you. Waquez, thank you for the F. We're beyond that, though. Now we're running stable. The Dying Titan, what do you think of the 18-meter Starship versus Sea Dragon? 18-meter Starship. So Sea Dragon, the idea was dumb, cheap, inefficient. And therefore, like, it doesn't really matter. Your payload, like, its mass efficiency was horrible. Because it didn't care. It didn't really care about anything. It's just like, here, let's just make it as... It has to be so big because it is so inefficient and such a big, dumb vehicle. But yeah, the Starship will be a I don't think Sea Dragon actually had that high of capability. That's the funny thing. The Sea Dragon concept, let me pull that up because it was this massive rocket that would have just been the biggest rocket ever made by far. Absolutely massive. You basically float it out like a ship, and then it takes off from the water. Let's see. How 150 meters tall, 23 meters wide. But what was the actual capability? Oh, 550. What? 550 tons? I didn't know it could do that much, supposedly. Yeah, I don't know. No. It's cool, but I think Starship will make a lot more sense and actually work. Getting an engine that's also... So remember how much combustion instability we had when developing the F1 engine? The F1 engine is what, 3 meters wide or something? Like, it's pretty big, and even that had a terrible problem with combustion instability. This would be a 23 meter wide rocket engine. 23 meter wide rocket engine, 75 feet wide. No. Like, I'm sorry, but that would have had so many problems. There's a reason it didn't happen, obviously. But 18 meter Starship will be properly bonkers and probably be close to that 500 kilogram or 500 ton payload capacity too. Who knows? Oh, Casper, that's an awesome render. Here, I'll pull this up real quick. Oopsies. Oh, this is a great render. As always, Casper. So let me pull this up here real quick. So Casper Stanley in our Discord, who has helped with some of the renders that you guys see in some of my videos, sent this in our Discord channel. Check this out. So we have the Electron down here, the teeny cute little Electron. You can barely even see it there. And then the Saturn V. The Starship vehicle, when it's all done, will be taller than Saturn V. The Saturn V is 111 meters tall. New Starship will be about 120 meters tall. And then this is Sea Dragon. But notice it just has a single rocket engine on the bottom. It also does parallel staging kind of because these side-mounted engines are firing during ascent as well. But yeah, I think they would have had some serious problems making an engine that big, and also like taking. I don't know. I think this is already crazy enough. Starship's already completely bonkers enough. I think there's a reason that Sea Dragon didn't make it past paper, but pretty fun though. Thanks to Dying Titan. James King, would you take a one-way trip to Mars or beyond? Absolutely not. No way. I don't even want to go to Mars until there's like restaurants and stuff, and until it's just like totally normal to go there. I'm not gonna go anywhere until I need like a swimming pool probably. Can you imagine if you went to Mars right now and you had to spend 20 years without being able to like take a bath really because water is such a finite resource, or go, like swim in a swimming pool or do anything with like, you can't just go swimming in the ocean or the lake or something. It would just be weird. I just think that'd be sad. No thanks. That's not me. Let me know when there's like a nice taco stand and some pizza and stuff like that, and then I will consider going to Mars. But definitely not. I would go to the moon before then though, because if it's only like a 2-week trip or something, I think I could rough it for a trip to the moon. But Mars, like 2 years, even for a round trip, no way. No, thank you. But what about you, James? What would you do? I would not, though. Good question, though. Thanks, James. Philip Moyer, one of the things I've learned about engineering over the years is it's never to ask what else could possibly go wrong. You're right. That is very fair. Next thing you know, my computer's just going to explode, and I'd be very sad. But thanks, Philip. Arjun, for your new studio with the perfect network connection, how far along do you think Starship will be at the time you start in your new studio? Oh, geez. Trying to make me guess Starship progress is mean. That is, because it's simultaneously like so fast that it hurts, and then also painfully slow sometimes. Like seal number 4 has been around for almost a month now, and it feels like it's made little progress, but yet they've tested it so many times, so it's really, really hard to say. Okay, I think by the time I moved in and my studio's done, which will be probably a week after I move in, so likely by July. So we'll just say July 1st. We will have seen, by then I think we'll have seen the 150 meter hop by July 1st. And seal number 5 will be in the testing phase by July 1st. That's my guess. Seal number 5 will be on the pad, and we'll have done. Ooh, I think the question is, here's the question. Will we see a 3 Raptor engine static fire by July 1st? That's kind of where I'm at. Like, that's my guess. And I'm going to say we will have barely seen a 3-engine static fire by July 1st. That's a risky guess, because who knows? This stuff could either go perfectly, and that could happen exactly in a month. But I think if everything goes well, I honestly think, I honestly do think it could be pretty soon. But 6 weeks out would be pretty aggressive. Because that's about where we're at, right? 6 weeks. Yeah, I think it'd be a 3-engine Starship. People are asking, is my new studio in Florida? So my new studio will be in Iowa still, and then I will working on something else in Florida still. A lot of things are in the air right now. A lot of things changed kind of with the pandemic, to be honest. Like, I'm kind of holding off on Florida right now because it seems like tourism. And like Florida kind of always gets hit hard as far as property value and property and all that stuff anytime there's any kind of recession. And clearly we're at the beginning or in a recession right now. So I didn't really want to try to, get rent on a place or secure property at the beginning of a recession, because I just feel like that'd be poor financial decision. So, so I'm kind of in a holding pattern for Florida, at least. So that's why I'm working on just something here at home, and I'll likely be still trying to find a place and just kind of split my time between Florida and Iowa. The good thing about Iowa is it's hilariously cheap. Like, property in Iowa is, you can get a mortgage on a nice house for like under $1,000, and that's just $1,000 a month, not $1,000 period. But that would be the worst rent. That'd be the worst place you could possibly rent in like New York City, or like LA. Even hardly $1,000 would not get you anything. So, yeah. So we're working on it. I'll get it figured out, and hopefully soon. My idea too is I would love to have like Airbnbs in Florida too, like space themed, space style Airbnbs. And you guys can go and watch a launch, and I'll have it all procured for you to be an awesome launch experience. And, based on things that over the years of going down to Florida that I've experienced, and it'll be this whole thing. So someday, Yu Yang, I will let you know if I need any HVAC system simulated. So thank you for the question. Anton, watch you guys from Moscow, Russia. That is great. Thank you, Anton. Greetings. I'm so glad to know that people are watching from all around the world. That is crazy. Matt Dayton, will you collab with Vintage Space on Russian rockets? Amy, I don't think Amy's necessarily a Russian expert. She's like Mercury, Gemini, early space. She is, at least in the United States, one of the industry leaders as far as the history of that stuff goes. But I don't know if she has any particular... Well, she has a pretty good edge. Anything vintage, anything 60s, she's definitely better than me in her knowledge. But I don't know if would know the lineage of the rock. We have most of that done already. I don't know. I'll see if there'd be a way to collaborate with her on that. But collaborations. I definitely need to. Oh, there's that RCS test again. Okay, so they're even depressing that COPV. Because that is an RCS thruster down there, a cold gas thruster that they have that we'll probably see a bunch of those stuck on the vehicle. Sweet. So that does mean that they're detanking those COPVs. They have to have everything depressurized in order and stable in order to have anyone return back to the pad. So if there was a problem, then they can go, we'll see the crew go back down there, tweak some stuff, and then try to do the static fire later. So, oh man. Okay, so maybe, if it seems like a good fit, I will definitely hit up Amy. She's great. Her content's fantastic. Sebastian, thank you so much. Nick Duggar, I don't know what 10 means, but thanks, Sebastian. Nick Duggar, window extended to 4 p.m. will be a while, if at all. Yes, long day. We'll probably, if we see crew return back to the pad, we're going to shut down the live stream, preserve the batteries, preserve Gina and Rachel. They can go get some lunch, and then return from there. So, yeah. Okay. Lee Dixon, there's more RCS COPV thruster. Wow, they're just letting her rip now. You can tell how far away they are based on how long it takes for that sound to travel. The crazy thing is you can hear those from a mile and a half, 2.5 kilometers away or whatever. You can hear those, and Elon wants to put those on the next Roadster. So that is very confusing to me. I don't think you'd make people go deaf. Yeah, that'd be absolutely insane. Lee Dixon, thank you so much. Clint to me said 4/3 are you on GH5 Metabones glass? So what I sent them, I'm using what's called the Zcam E2. It is micro 4/3. And it can shoot 120 frames a second in 4K. It's one of the few cameras, at least when I got them last year, that could do that. Awesome little camera. And then I'm using a Metabones adapter and using a Sigma 150 to 500 Canon EF glass. I still have a bunch of all my glasses EF mount, and then I just adapt it to whatever. So I use Metabones. I also have an E6. I have two of those E2s, two of those slow-mo E2s, and then I have a 6K E6, and that actually is native EF mount, even though it's APS-C. So those cameras are incredible. I've been extremely, extremely happy. So yeah, and they do great with live streams. They do great with slow-mo. They're just an awesome all-around little camera. So yeah, thanks, Clint. P-Mang6. What do you think is the short to medium term economic impetus for Mars colonization? Science-based, trading post. Thanks for the content. You're welcome. I don't think a trading post would be. There's nothing really of high value on Mars that is worth like importing back to Earth that I know of. Moon maybe, because the moon might have some, what is it? Like helium something. By the way, so Rachel and Jean at Space Padre Isle on Twitter, they say next attempt in static fire will be from 2 to 4 today. So it is currently almost 11 a.m. So we're looking at probably 3 hours or so. So that probably means I'm going to shut down in the next 12 minutes, even if we haven't seen crew return back to the pad, just so that they can shut down and so that they can get out of there and go get some food and stuff like that and refresh and hydrate and do all that stuff. So. I think at first, economically, science would be the benefit, and just learning how to, if we can get humans to Mars consistently and safely, it means that by that point, the system to do that is also capable of a massive economy in space. Because now you can send stuff up to space for literally like $10 a kilogram or something instead of thousands of dollars a kilogram. It'll change spaceflight and space economics, period. So therefore, in doing that, getting to Mars will be a lot more reasonable, a lot more manageable. So I think it's more like getting to Mars won't necessarily change won't necessarily benefit like the Mars to Earth relationship, but the Earth to space relationship will be like a 2 order of magnitude decrease in costs, and therefore open up a totally a whole new, literally like a whole new world, Aladdin style life for humans. Yeah, it'll be insane. Good question, though. Thank you. Anil, I'm not even going to say that because oh, you almost got me. Hi, Everyday Astronaut. Thanks for doing this. You are welcome, Anil. I'm not even going to say it the other way. That's really funny, though. PPG's 13. Will you be in person for Demo 2 mission? I noticed KSC is going to be closed to the public. What are other good places to watch SpaceX launches from? So PBG 13, I feel like I have to say this at least every hour. If you don't live in the area, please don't travel to the Cape for this mission. Just please stay at home. The best places to watch the SpaceX launch will be on YouTube because they will have the best views. I am one of under 100 press people that NASA is letting on site, and therefore I feel like I have to film it. You know, I want to film it. I want to be there. I want to experience it. Yeah. So I will be there, and I will be attempting to live stream as best I can, but I might just experience it mostly for myself, to be honest, and then bring you guys some behind the scenes stuff, because I feel like the best live stream will definitely be with NASA and SpaceX, but I'll try to bring something ahead of time and stuff like that, maybe leading up to T0, and then at T0 just not worry as much about it and hope people can pull up. You'd basically only want to watch me for my reaction, I think, because there will be much better views and much better versions of the launch online. So yeah. So I will be there, but please, if you are not local to the Space Coast, just please don't travel there, especially if you're like outside of Florida. Don't go to the coast. It could be really bad as far as bringing 500,000 people. And it is a personal responsibility thing, because yes, it's not a big deal if I go, you know, but if everyone says that, all of a sudden we still have 500,000 people going. So just go to the next like Falcon Heavy mission or the next booster that will return to launch site, because as far as a launch experience, those will be cooler than this, as far as seeing something and witnessing an awesome spaceflight event. But yeah, yeah, I'm going. That's a good point, Roadkill. I'm going so you guys don't have to, with proper permissions and proper safety considerations too. So I'm taking it very seriously, and I just ask that you guys do too. But that's the answer. But thank you very much, PBG 013. GP1690, big fan of your channel. Much love from Scotland. Thanks for the great content. You're welcome. Thank you. Spaceman George, I love Felix, Space Eccentric, Scott Manley, all of you. Did they test today? I got here late. They fueled up, but they did not test today. They did not test yet. They're still trying to, but we think the crew is going to be moving back to the pad here shortly. So, yeah. So, wish us luck. Fingers crossed. Jared ES, do you think SpaceX is still on track for Mars by 2025? I don't know. It's so hard to tell. I think there's a chance of them sending an uncrewed lunar lander by 2025. It'd have to be 2024 to be that window. 2024 would be nuts. 2026 would probably be more likely. I think they could do it by 2026. But yeah. It's so hard to tell. This whole thing, because it's such a different pace. It's so milestone based that it's really, really, really hard to guess or predict. Even things that are more well laid out, like SLS rocket is a totally drawn up system down to the bolt, you know, totally done. And even that is years and years and years behind. So trying to guess something like this that is accelerating in progress and in pace, but is just like literally, if stuff blows up, we just do it again, like no big deal. So it's really, really hard to tell. But I will say 2024, maybe 2026, I would say higher than 50% chance that they will send an uncrewed Starship to Mars by 2026. I will go ahead and say, I will say about 80% would be my guess by 2026. And I would say less than 50% for 2024 is my personal opinion. But that would be amazing. Because if everything goes well on that, then they could potentially send humans in the next launch window. But there's so many things to solve still, like colonization stuff and in-situ resource utilization and literally like acres and acres of solar panels, and there's so much stuff. But it's all solvable. It's just hard stuff. Ooh, I love this nature stuff. This is so great. It's beautiful, like cranes and herrings or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hans, hi Tim. Is it still possible for an intercontinental airliner Starship to fly commercially? Greetings from Philippines. Absolutely. Yes. Starship. It will just be the upper stage, as far as we know. Elon has mentioned that with the new designs and the new kind of aero, that it has a really surprisingly far glide range. So it can fly quite a bit further, just as the Starship upper stage only, and it will then be it could then be utilized for point to point Earth transportation, and it could be commercially viable. If the cost is mostly fuel and pad considerations, it could be cost effective, and it'll be a while, I think, before it's safe enough to really, really consider having humans. Flo says 2026 is where the window slips to 2027. Thank you, Flo. Good call. I do think that Derek the Derek News channel, Derek News reader of the Derek News channel, says, I don't think Earth to Earth concept is feasible. I absolutely do think it's feasible eventually. Like, there's no reason we can't have, hypersonic, getting out, in above the Kármán line Earth to Earth transportation. It might be an evolution of Starship, but in 20 years, I see no reason why we couldn't have that. So, yeah, if the rocket's just as reusable and quick to iterate on and refuel and fly again as a jetliner, I don't see why not. So thanks, Hans. Adam, is a hot dog a sandwich? No, not this again. No. I'll ask you, Adam, is a hot dog a sandwich? There you go. Question on a question. Marco, thank you so much. Tommaso, thank you for the membership. Philip Moyer, when you were at SpaceX, did you see or learn about the laser sintering metal additive manufacturing that you can talk about or share? They have additive 3D printing, and it's I've seen SpaceX's additive 3D printing machines. I've seen Rocket Labs, but I don't know enough even about that other than to say I know it's additive metal 3D printing. Unfortunately, that is something I just don't know enough about. But I think it's off the shelf industry machines that they're buying and then utilizing. So I don't really know too much about them, unfortunately. Yeah. Thank you, Philip. I'm sorry that I don't have more insight on that. Tanner Williams, a Cybertruck that still has the Starship re-entry marks on it. Yes, please. I know. That would be the coolest thing of all. Seriously, like a properly used Starship turned into Cybertruck would be incredible. Absolutely. Thank you, Tanner. Pedro, thank you for the cool pair. Technical Fool, how's it going? Wonder if Crontech would sponsor one of the guys out there with a Kronos camera to get those tests filmed with 4-figure frames per second. I think so. Well, so Cosmic Perspective, Mary Liz Bender and Ryan Shalinsky have definitely done a lot of stuff with those cameras. And I think this summer, assuming things are safe enough for travel and all that stuff, we will still be going to some of the higher altitude hops, like the 20-kilometer hop and stuff like that. I think they will be bringing their Kronos and their higher frame rate cameras for those tests. So definitely stand by for that. That will be absolutely incredible. So yeah, thanks, Technical Fool. Good to see you. Chris Smith, thanks for talking about personal responsibility on this, Tim. Really appreciate that. So glad you get to go and that we can all watch it in HD. Absolutely. And I will bring you guys slow-mo 4K footage. I'll even maybe post some of it in 6K, which will be a fun little treat. So, yeah. So I think, guys, it's about 11 a.m. here local and in Texas. Because we hear that they're going to be trying for later today, I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down so that Rachel and Jean can get some food and take a break and do all that stuff too. So everyone, real quick friendly reminder, look right up at the top left hand of the screen. You'll see with Space Padre Isle there, who have been working really hard to get this footage for us. I sent them down, like I said, that Zcam E2. They've had to learn how to run it in the past month, run all this, the live view units and everything. They're doing such an awesome job. So everyone say thank you to Gene and Rachel. And again, if you are going down to South Padre Island, definitely hit them up and do take surfing lessons with them, because they got me surfing right away, like first try. They're awesome. It was super fun. And South Spadre Island is a really good place to learn how to surf because there's this like part where there's kind of a break, so the waves, you can choose your own wave basically. Like go down this side, small waves over here, big waves. Super cool. It was really, really fun. So and I think they're becoming more and more ready for business too. So if you're going to go down and catch one of these hops later this year, definitely consider hitting them up. But say thank you to them. They are awesome. And also, like I said, if you guys do want some of the new merch in the store, you better get on that now because we are already running pretty low. We do runs on things like this new, people were asking about the old logo, saying they kind of missed the old logo. So we did a new version, kind of a throwback to the Everyday Astronaut logo. And then on the front it says, bringing space down to earth for everyday people. So this is kind of a cool throwback. It is a different cut of shirt, so it has like a split hem. And it's an awesome shirt, nice and lightweight. I like to have my shirts be just kind of like cozy and comfortable and all that stuff. But of course, we have the normal shirt. We have the new Future Martian Society T-shirt as well. Like I said, this one I'm really excited about with all the Arcadia Planatia and all the cool stuff on the sleeve too. So yeah, so go ahead and go to everydayastronaut.com/shop if you guys want to check some of that out before it's gone, before we run out. We still, of course, have like the Aerospike engine T-shirt, which is another favorite. And again, don't forget, all these do have like these awesome custom tags and stuff like that. So shop around, find something for yourself if you enjoy this stuff. I'm, of course, today wearing the full flow stage combustion cycle T-shirt, assuming we're going to hopefully see a static fire today. That's the good luck. Maybe Elon's wearing his too. We will see. Maybe we should ask him if he's wearing it, because maybe that's the difference between it happening and not happening. So yeah, all right, guys, let's go ahead and let them tune out here. Yeah, I think we'll just let you guys go, and I will stay tuned to Twitter. I'll let you guys know if I'm going to go live again and if we're seeing signs of something happening again. But and yes, we will get a clock going. We have to get a clock going, and I also have to fix something else in the shop too. So yeah, that is very important. So all right. Oh, we also have one more thing from Hacking Video Blog. How's it going? It usually means preheated metal powder in a container. Then a laser beam adds just the bare minimum energy necessary to selectively probably melt and bond some of the powder. Then the laser gradually draws the 3D part. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's just kind of like melts it and forms it. But yeah, that's about all I know about it. So I can't really give any juicy details on any of their additive 3D printing manufacturing process. So yeah. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for me. Everyone say again, quick thank you to at Space Padre Island on Twitter, and find me on Twitter too, Everyday Astronaut, but you have to type in Everyday Astronaut because Everyday Astronaut's too long, which is the dumbest thing ever. And if you want to join our Discord channel and talk today, just while we're kind of all hanging out, go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut, and a huge thank you to all those of you that do participate and help make stuff like this happen. You guys are the best. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Hopefully we'll see you guys here in just a little bit, in a couple hours, and I'll have a few tweaks for you guys. So, all right, thanks, guys. We'll see you later.